All right, it's time. My final top 10 opinion poll for Louisiana high school basketball. Um, I actually considered 40 teams for that 10th spot. 1 through 9 has more or less been settled already this year. I think those 9 teams have been kind of far and away. Their resumes have just been a little bit better than the rest of these teams, but that 10th spot is just really hard to decide who I would put in it. I considered about 30 teams for that spot. And when it comes down to it, I think I've made a decision on who probably deserved the 10th spot the best. But before I get into the top 10, I just want to mention some honorable mentions here, and there's a lot of them. So going down the list, teams that have impressed me and are definitely going to be contenders in their classes going forward. Northwood, Lena, I don't know how you say it, but some great players. They did just lose a blowout in their final game to somebody, I think Peabody, I forget. That Northwood team, though, was solid 1A team. 1A, I believe. Port Allen, Archbishop Hannon, Lakeview, number 1 team in 2A. I was hoping to see them, I think last week. They had a game canceled, unfortunately. Lakeshore, North Shore, excellent teams. Neville with Pat McCraney, who just signed it. Delgado. Neville's going to make a run in 4A. You already know. Lafayette Christian, St. Thomas More, North Central with Devion Laverne, Reg Stoner. Such a good 1A team. Peabody, obviously, a powerhouse. Episcopal, New Iberia, Woodlawn of Shreveport, Brother Martin, ULab, Donaldsonville, Beauchene, Wassman, who, have had a few too many losses to be in this 10th slot. But in my opinion, I think Wassman is one of the top 10 teams in the state. I think they're that good. Pat Williams, Shell, they could be a dominant 3A team who could absolutely win the 3A title. Southern Lab, an incredible team, fantastic team. Probably could make their finals as well. West Monroe, who's been a little inconsistent, they're one of my favorite teams in all of Louisiana. Specifically, I think they're a really, really good 5A team. They've had a couple of questionable losses, but Richard, Manning, my boy Dakota Gasca, I think West Monroe has a shot at going really far in 5A. Huntington, with from up here in Shreveport, a very, very good team. Scotlandville, who just beat McMain. They had a run of losses. They started off the season undefeated, had a run of losses, finished out really strong. Calvary, one of the hottest teams in the state, with wins over Scotlandville, just beat Bossier a couple weeks ago. They're heading in really, really hot to the playoffs. Archbishop Shaw with my guy Cam Johnson, Rodney Phillips, great team. I got to see them live a couple weeks ago. Landry Walker, one of my favorite teams in the state. Walker, another one of my favorite teams in 5A. I think Walker's going to make a run again toward the 5A state finals, if anything. Captain Shreve is 25-5, 26-5. Probably one of the best defensive teams in the state. They're big, deep, solid defensive team. And Christian Ford, they've got a couple of guys who I think could really help them offensively heading into the playoffs. Great atmosphere at their games. Ouachita, I think there's the number 3 team in the state power ratings that will probably come out today. Ouachita absolutely has a claim to be number 10 team in the state. Simsboro as well, probably the best small school team in the state. They're extraordinarily fun to watch. Absolutely a threat to be the Class B state champs this year. The last two, Bossier and Ash, both definitely considered for this top 10. I think Bossier, is going to win the 3A state title. I think it'll be them in Madison Prep, or maybe Wassman in Madison Prep. But Bossier's lost to Calvary. It just kind of knocked them out. Maybe they're number 11. All that said, Bossier's been in my top 10 all season. And Usually I'd give the nod to them, but in this case, the number 10 team in my opinion poll, top 10, is Ruston. And Ruston has been one of the hottest teams in the state. They they just have been really consistent. They have huge wins. Excuse me. They did lose to Ash a couple weeks ago, but they followed it up with a 16-point victory a couple nights ago. Wins over West Monroe, Ouachita, drilled Richwood. 2 wins over West Monroe and Ouachita. And just their consistency. Only lost a couple games all season. Wins over Southwood as well. They beat Neville. I just think that they've had an exceptional season, and pretty sure they're district champs, 23-4. They just deserve it, in my opinion. They deserve the recognition, and I think they're absolutely a dangerous team heading into the playoffs. They've proven they can hang with the big boys. So, in my opinion, they're going to get that 10th slot in the top 10 this week. The final slot. At number 9, I have Madison Prep. They've played everybody, and I think especially they put all their games on NFHS Network, and so I get to see them a lot. If Percy Daniels is as locked in as he's been the past few weeks, I absolutely think they're going to be a dangerous team, perhaps state champions in 3A. They lost to Carver a couple nights ago, but they're coming off a big win over Brother Martin. They beat EA, they beat ULab. This is all in the past couple weeks. They drilled Port Allen, beat Scotlandville. Their only 2 losses. Well, yeah, 3 of their only losses in the past month or 2 have come to Zachary and Carver, top 2 teams in the state. So they come in at number 9 for me. Probably the favorite to win the 3A title. At number 8, I have McMain, who has defending 4A state title winners. Talked about them before, but, absolutely a threat to win the 4A state title. Coming off of 2 consecutive overtime losses by the same score, 82-80 to Liberty and Scotlandville. But they have, huge wins this season. Some of the best players in the state, one of the best recruits in the state in Corey Chest. A great team. They've had probably not got the results they've wanted this season, but they are one of the best teams in the state. I don't have any trouble saying that. Number 7, I have Liberty, who was kind of they were in my top 3 for a while this season before. Looks like they kind of were running out of gas. Like they were playing a lot of games in a short amount of time. But finishing out the season with a win over McMain is big for them. Dropped one to Newman a couple weeks ago, as well as to Zachary, but they have wins over Scotlandville, wins over Madison Prep, Port Allen, a couple wins over Scotlandville. And I think they have Jacob Wilson is one of the most talented players in the state. They're deep, too. I love Gaskins. Cameron, forget his last name, can really shoot. Nailed those 3 free throws at the end of regulation a couple nights ago to help pick up that win. I really, really like Liberty. I really like watching them play. At number 6, I put them in here, even though they don't play LHSAA competition, but Sean Dumas Academy, I'll have them in the top 10 every week just because I know how good their team and coach is. I haven't got to see them play a lot, but if they were playing an LHSAA schedule, they would be in the top 5. So I like to put them in there just so they can get some recognition, get their players recognized. And, I think it's tough when you start an academy and you're not allowed to play certain teams. But those guys do deserve support. They're a part of our family, and they're absolutely loaded. Alex A. Johnson, Kyron Ratliff, John Kelly, Jordan Moore, Burdett. They're just, especially that starting 5 they could compete with anybody in the state. Number 5, I have St. Paul's. Absolutely one of my favorite teams to watch. They Could have knocked off Zachary a couple weeks ago, if not for a pretty miraculous last second shot by Tyler Brown. St. Paul's is really good, just fundamentally sound. Reese Schneider, my boy Zach Finn, they are super confident, and they have not lost very many games this season. One to Zachary, lost a close one to De La Salle, lost to Newman. And they also beat Newman, and they lost to Carr early in the season, and that's it. They're consistent. They they play together, and I think they're the biggest threat to win their division title, state title this season. Coming in ahead of them is Edna Carr, who I think they're tired of being overlooked. I think you know, they're probably the favorites to make the state title and to have a shot at, knocking off Carr or McMain or one of the, 8 or 9 teams who could contend for the 4A state title. Carr has wins over Landry Walker, McMain, West Monroe, Shaw, another one over Landry Walker, De La Salle, New Iberia, St. Thomas More, Catholic Brother Martin, John Curtis, another one over Brother Martin, Jesuit, Booker T in New Orleans. They beat Carver. I mean, they beat St. Paul's. One of the most impressive resumes. Leland Smith, Devin Lewis, Shives Johnson. They are Javon Taylor, I really like too. They're deep. They're one of the best defensive teams in the state. They're big. And I just think that they've done the job. They've done their job all season, and they're a threat. They're absolutely a threat. Don't be surprised if the 4A state title goes to Carr. They are that good. Coming in at number 3, Newman. I got flack all season for having Newman this high in my rankings, but they're just that good, and they're young too. They're going to be the best team in the state next year, and they have the resume to prove it. They have big wins over. They beat Liberty a couple weeks ago. De La Salle. They beat Southern Lab. They beat Country Day. They beat McMain by 30. They beat Carr by 19. Hanville, BT. They beat North Shore. They beat St. Paul's. Beat BT again. Landry Walker, Mandeville. I mean, a super impressive resume. Some of the best players in the state too, of probably the top 5 minimum juniors in the state, with Cannon Jefferson and Chris Lockett. The game that really sold it to me was watching them play Liberty, because I know how good Liberty is. And the score was pretty close, but Newman dominated that game. Newman is, in my opinion, they have been and are one of the top 3 teams in the state, hands down. And I don't really care what you have to say about it. You're not going to convince me otherwise. And then I have a tie for the first place teams. Zachary and Carver, and Zachary's won 27 straight games, but Carver beat them in the head-to-head by 1 or 2 early in the season. It's a coin flip, I guess. I think Zachary's resume is more impressive, but the fact that Carver beat Zachary, take your pick. They're 2 of the best and most dominant teams. I mean, over the span of the past 2 years, what Zachary and Carver have done has been pretty exceptional. Well coached, not just well coached, phenomenally coached. Chemistry out the wazoo, talent, defense, passing, entertaining. I mean, even the moms of the team are fun. And we're just blessed to get to see them play and compete all the time. I really think that we should have gotten another game between the 2. But we'll just have to live, with the one we got earlier this season. To me, that's how it kind of goes. I mean, my rankings reflect that, but Zachary and Carver are up here. Newman is right beneath them. I'm sorry. Yeah, Zachary and Carver. Then it's Newman and Carr. St. Paul's. is right there. SDA is right there in that group. Then it's Liberty, McMain, Madison Prep, who are all, I think, as talented or deep or have something that could put them in that upper echelon, but the results don't quite match. And then after that, there are, 30 teams who have all, 20-win seasons or getting hot at the right time. And that's when we're talking about Ruston, Bossier, Ash, Simsboro, Ouachita, Captain Shreve, Walker, Landry, Walkershaw, Calvary, Scarlinville, Huntington, West Monroe, Southern Lab, Waspin, Bosheen, Donaldsonville, ULab, Brother Martin, Woodlawn, New Iberia, Episcopal, Peabody, North Central, STMLCA, Neville, North Shore, Lakeview, Hannon, Port Allen, Northwood, and there's plenty of others too. I'm sure I'm going to get hate for leaving y'all out, but I mentioned 44 teams, and I haven't seen every game, so there's John Curtis, teams like I don't know. There's lots of teams that are good. I just haven't seen enough of them yet. Catholic is a good team, I'm sure. Oh, Natchitoches Central. I didn't mention them. They're obviously one of the best in the state. So this is just my opinion. I just wanted to reflect and talk about the games that I've seen, teams that I've seen. You're more than welcome to your opinion. But how about instead of like trying to call me out or come for me, you just respond and offer your own opinion, which is absolutely valid. Obviously, I've not seen every single game or every single team, but the teams that I have seen that have impressed me, I do like to mention them, bring them up, talk about them, start a conversation. So hopefully that's what I've done. Please, yeah, feel free to respond, be respectful, and hopefully we can have more conversations and talk about our players and teams so that they get more opportunities. That's what we're trying to do here, right? Anyway, I'm enjoying my lazy Sunday, lazy weekend on the couch. I'm really looking forward to the playoffs starting next week. And hopefully I'll see some of y'all at some games. Peace out.